Hello. Figured I'd do another Bagua lesson. I've got a little bit of time here this evening without any students around. So thought I'd just talk a little bit more about some of the fundamental stuff that you do in Bagua. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to talk a little bit first about the circle itself. Now there's generally different types of circles. There's called square stepping, which is a 4-step circle, and then there's like the 8-step, the 16-step, etc., etc., usually in, big surprise, divisions of 8. Doesn't really matter. What matters is how the circle is actually created. So if you recall, when you're doing Bagua, your outside foot is going to be turning. So if I was walking towards the camera, hopefully you can see me kind of okay. I know my feet are going to be sort of out of the picture, but we'll do our best here. If I step forward, if my circle's on my left, or so my right-hand side, then my left foot is going to be toeing in very, very slightly. Actually, I'll just pick up the camera and then I can show you what I'm talking about here. So this way, ideally, this will actually make some sense. Okay, so here we go. When I'm walking, I know this is kind of a weird angle, but when I'm walking, if I was walking a circle that's going to my right, my outside foot is going to toe in very slightly, and my inside foot is going to reach and then step straight forward. So technically, you could kind of say that my inside foot is walking straight, and in fact, my outside foot too is walking straight. It's just the toe in that's changing things, okay? Now, there's a big part to this, though, that people kind of, I don't know, it just seems like people don't really either pay attention to it or they don't talk about it enough or whatever. But I'm just walking a few here so you can kind of see what my foot's doing. Okay, so when you're doing this, you want to be careful about, first of all, how you're turning your foot. So the rotation becomes a really big deal, how this rotation takes place. Let's see if I put you down here. Okay. So the rotation has to take place from the inguinal crease joint. People call it hua in Chinese, right? So the hua joint is the inguinal crease, and it doesn't just mean in here in the front. It means all the way around to the back, right through the buttocks, okay? This whole joint and all of the muscularity involved in this joint is what's going to be called your hua. Now when you're turning your foot, this is the problem with language, okay? Is I'm not actually toeing in my foot. I'm actually rotating from the inguinal crease joint. So if I want to toe in my left leg, I know you can't really see my foot here, but when I toe in my left leg, what I'm doing, I'm going to put my hand on it, is I'm actually rotating from here. So if somebody, usually when I'm teaching this in a class, I'll get somebody to touch my inguinal crease joint with one hand and then my ankle with the other. And what should happen is that you'll see the inguinal crease joint start to turn before it reaches the ankle, right? Because you've got the knee joint in there that can absorb a little bit of flexation. If you do it incorrectly, when somebody touches you like this, your ankle will turn first, and then your inguinal crease joint. And the problem with that is that if power is coming back up, number one, it's going to really hurt you when it comes to things like floating root, which we'll do another time in a video. But it's also going to actually injure your knee. Because what happens is as you step down, so this is the leg, as you step down, if your ankle turns first, by the time the weight transfers through the knee joint, which is supposed to be a joint that transfers weight, not bears weight, okay? There's weight transference joints and there's weight bearing joints. This is a weight transference joint in the knee here. So if I twist this and it tries to transfer through this twisted knee, then it damages the meniscus. So you can slowly grind your knees apart as you're training your Bagua. This is why a lot of people, when they first start things like Bagua training, they end up with sore knees. And it's usually this correction, I find, that is the problem. They're not getting this. So you have to make sure that the ankle is actually not really engaged. You're not turning or twisting it. It's just the inguinal crease joint, which in turn will turn that ankle joint for you, okay? So this is what creates your circle. So as I start walking my circle here, I'm working really heavily on sitting as though I was sitting on a stool and turning from my inguinal crease joint. Okay, and it doesn't matter which type of step I do, it has to be inguinal crease joint. So I'm just going to grab the camera again so that you can see some of the steps, okay? So if I'm here, I'm going to just take one step into kind of a Bagua stance. This is obviously a straight step. If I turn, I'm going to put my hand on the leg so you can see it. I'm going to turn from the top of my leg. Now watch, if I turn from the bottom of my leg, see how my hand hasn't even moved yet, it hasn't followed? I want to be able to turn from here and have this follow, okay? So then you've got your bi and your ko step. So ko is coming inwards, which gives me this kind of pigeon-toed look. And ba step, bi-step is an outward toeing step, okay? And this is one of the first exercises I was taught to get this whole inguinal crease thing to work. So I know this is kind of going to be a shaky video because of this, but that's, you know, it's just the way it is. I don't have anybody here. So here's the exercise that I'm going to give you in this one. So you're going to take a step forward, and it's going to be a toed in step, so we don't have to worry about linguistics here. Then what I'm going to do for my toed in step is I'm going to lift my foot again, turn from the inguinal crease joint, toe out. And then my next foot is going to step straight ahead and toe in from the inguinal crease. Toe out. Okay, so this is the first stage of this. I'm going to show you a couple of stages for this one. Toe in and toe out. Toe in and toe out. Okay, toe in and toe out. I'll just turn around here. Okay, so once this becomes simple, then I'm just going to show you a really easy sweeping drill that works really, really good for this as well, working on the inguinal crease joint so that you can get good circles. So exactly the same, I'm going to toe in, but now after I've toed in, I'm going to pull, this is my right foot, I'm going to pull it to my knee. So this is actually an instep sweep. So I've got somebody's foot in here, and what I do is I just rip it out from underneath them. Okay, now I'm going to do my toe out step. So the inguinal crease joint moves, and I toe out as I step down, okay? Hopefully you can see that. And then the other side again. So 1, 2, 3. Now this last one, this last toe out step, this is also a kind of sweep. And I don't have a partner, but I do have a Kung Fu bench. So what I'm going to do with this is ideally, hopefully you can see the legs of the bench there. Get it out of the sunlight here. So when I come and I do my toe out step, as I toe out against this leg, I should be kicking the leg. And this is because of the turn in the inguinal crease joint. So my foot is coming down, so I just did this. Toe in, up. My foot starts to come down, and my ankle turns because of what I've done in the inguinal crease joint. So this is one of those exercises that you practice it enough, you end up having really powerful, really strong legs, and they create a lot of spiraling, twisting force. And that's what you want to have, okay? So making sense of that should really help, and it should give you some really powerful circle walking. If you pay really close attention to it, you're going to be able to really work the inguinal crease, and then what you should do is you should start with a nice big circle, really. Because then the inguinal crease joint doesn't have to actually activate that much to get the foot to move. Whereas if you do square stepping, the inguinal crease joint has to turn a lot before you do anything. And it can be a bonus if you're having a really hard time with it, or if you just want to feel the activation, if your hips are really tight, if the quad joint hasn't been opened yet, then you should be able to get something to happen if you're doing a bigger circle. That way it doesn't have to open fully until you get into the smaller circles. Hopefully that makes some sense. Seemed kind of convoluted, but might work for you. Take care.